David Smalley has been kind enough to allow me to use a short contiguous segment from the recent Dogma debate podcast, where he and AronRa took on Saitem Bruggencate's one-trick pony. I think the uniqueness of this debate was that Aaron and David were able to turn Sai's one-trick pony into a dead donkey very successfully. Aaron did not allow Sai to pile up his bullshit, but pulled him up on his first dollop and would not let him progress, whilst David cut through Sai's doublespeak and highlighted his shell game of distorting people's words to use back against them. I'm not going to interrupt the audio, but I will annotate those points I think need highlighting. I will only ask you to listen carefully as Sai repeatedly tries to insert his dead donkey into the debate. If you're not aware of Sai's dead donkey, it is this.
I know my reasoning is valid because my imaginary friend told me so. I do not have to prove I am not delusional until you can prove to me that you are not delusional about every single thing which you claim that you think you know. And you can only prove you are not delusional about every single thing which you claim you think you know by admitting that you can hear my imaginary friend as well.
But unless Sai states unequivocally that the person he is debating is, in fact, wrong about everything which they claim that they think they know, then he has to admit that they are, in fact, able to reason correctly about many things, including the fact that Sai has zero evidence for his imaginary friend. So on with the show.
I want to know how you know you have truth and how another believer tells me they have truth. How do you know you're not worshiping a false god and that someone else, in fact, has the real truth?
My epistemological answers will always be the same. What I know by and through revelation from God. If people claim another deity, I'll be happy to engage them in debate.
Here's a better...
And how do you know about God?
No,
so
wait.
This is what I've been waiting on this since I saw his video. Go ahead.
By his revelation. God makes us know.
Through the Bible?
Many ways.
Because you said in your video, and you're trying to catch Aaron now, which is invalid, but you're saying that he said things he didn't say. To be fair, Sai, you are. He's not saying these things, but you're putting words into his mouth.
I don't mind admitting that. If he says that he knows that he's living in the right reality, that's fine.
Nope, let me finish.
Then I apologize for that mischaracterization.
Okay,
but when he thinks a hypothetical that we could be brains and vats, he did not.
He said if. He didn't say there could be.
He's discounting that as a.
He said if that was the case, here is another answer to that. He didn't say that in fact was the case. So what I'm talking about here.
So I apologize for mischaracterization. I thought that when he said we could be brains and vats, I thought that he was giving that as another possibility.
No.
But if he's absolutely certain that we live in the right reality, then I ask him to justify his reasoning in this reality, which he can't do.
Which I did do, and I said because the laws of this reality still apply to us, and they apply to you, and you can't deny them. I can deny your God because it's made up.
He's just engaging. He's baiting you, and you're taking the bait. Don't take the bait.
Word game.
Just don't take the bait. Go ahead.
You believe in the laws of logic.
It's time for you to answer the question.
Let me clarify your question, Smalley, because he doesn't understand where it is you're getting. He's going to try to get some other bait out of it. Sir Isaac Newton, I brought this up on Magic Sandwich. Sir Isaac Newton, most brilliant man in history, argued by many, was also a very staunch Christian, and he believed that he had been given special revelation from God. He was specially chosen for divine revelation beyond the normal human understanding of the Scriptures. He was divinely chosen for special revelation from God, and he was shown these revelations through God in such a way that he could know it to be true for certain. The problem is he disagrees with Saitem Bruggencate, not on which God it is, but on the type of divinity it is. He showed that Jesus and Yahweh were different entities, whereas Saitem believes that they're the same.
Right.
Now, how do you show which one is correct? Because obviously, law of non-contradiction, they can't both be correct, right?
Oh, so you believe in the law of non-contradiction?
Of course.
So how do we know?
Why does it necessarily apply?
No, don't avoid the question.
You're avoiding the question.
The point is, how do we know that your
I'll answer that
truth?
Question, but the thing is, when
answer it now. Answer it now.
Answer it now.
Answer it now.
How do we know?
I'll answer it, but let me explain.
Answer it now.
You're in an argument with Sir Isaac Newton. He says Jesus is not God.
Right.
You say Jesus is God. How do we determine which of you is correct?
With
if
Scripture.
either of you.
With Scripture. Okay, that's
Does it
how we
have to be
determine
with Scripture?
Now, my question is...
But wait, this isn't from Scripture. Isaac Newton used the same excuse you did. revelation from God, not storybook.
Right.
Revelation from God.
How do we know which revelation is factual?
With Scripture.
But
Okay,
the
now let's
Scripture
get
was
back to the
written by
question.
guys from revelation from God. So where did their revelation from God come from if they didn't have the Scripture?
Well, I believe that the canon is closed.
But
Let me
they
get back to
wrote
your
it
question.
with... How did they write
Did you
it?
hear that? His claim on knowledge went back to his belief. I believe.
Yeah. So
I
so
didn't
you
say
don't
that.
have...
So
Yeah,
you just did, Si. You said I believe
the canon is closed.
You said I believe the canon is closed.
Well, the canon is closed. That's my
yeah,
position.
but how did they write it? They wrote it with, according to you, revelation
Through
from God,
inspiration from
right?
God.
All right.
So there was revelation from God before there was Scripture,
And
right?
I would argue with Isaac Newton as to whether that kind of revelation
Yes or
still
no?
occurs.
Was there
But
revelation
here's
from
the
God?
problem.
Was there revelation from God before there was Scripture?
Yes, it was.
So how do you determine whose revelation from God is correct? And why do we have all these books that are no longer in your Scripture that have been thrown out?
You determine it by Scripture.
How do we
Okay,
have
now-
Scripture referring to Scriptures that have since been thrown out? If the Scriptures refer to it, why would God make a reference to books that were written by some human author and then throw them out, but still refer to them in other chapters?
Well, I can explain to you the canonicity of Scripture, but that's not what this debate is about.
No, you cannot explain that. You can't explain
Sure I can.
anything. You also can't tell me how we would be able to tell, or how you would be able to tell, between you and Isaac Newton. How do you convince Newton that you're right? Or
Well,
how
I just
does
answered the
Newton?
question.
No,
Now
you
we're
didn't.
right back to you
no, you
saying,
didn't.
well, you don't like
No,
my
hold
no,
on.
you
answers.
didn't.
Hold on, guys.
Newton,
Si, all you
Newton
said.
chooses Scripture also, as well as revelation from God. How
No,
do you
you
both
said you
argue?
used extra-biblical revelation. That's what you
He
said.
had divine revelation direct from
Right,
God. He was
extra-biblical.
specially chosen. Right, God.
Extra-biblical
Right,
revelation.
extra biblical.
Right.
So
All right.
they're direct
All right,
to
nobody's
Newton.
going to listen to me. I'm ending the show. I'll
So-
end the entire show.
So God tells Newton that he's
Okay.
right and Satan is wrong. Now what?
You want the answer?
Yeah.
You can't just
You
say
said
Scripture. You
that
can't
his
just say
was an
Scripture.
extra-biblical revelation.
Right.
And what I'm saying is that I determined that through Scripture. Now, my question is, and this is what I was going to bring up, is that you said that there was a problem because there was a contradiction. And my question to you is, why are contradictions absolutely not allowed?
I think you're changing the subject. If Sir
I'm
Isaac
saying that
Newton,
your question presupposes my worldview.
No, it doesn't. It's irrelevant.
Okay, then how do you account for absolute laws of logic?
You're changing the subject again.
Answer
Get
the
back
question.
on the subject and
Okay,
get
you might
back
as well
to
end the
answer
show.
the
He's
question.
avoiding.
No, I'm not avoiding. You are. Sir Isaac Newton gets direct revelation from God to the effect where
Right,
God tells him
extra-biblical.
directly that Jesus is not God.
I
And-
deny that.
Yeah, I know. You deny
Guys.
direct revelation from God.
All right. Listen, Aaron, I want to give you 60 seconds.
No, I don't need it.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
60 seconds
There's no point in
to
talking
frame
to
your
this
question. Give 60 seconds to frame your question, and then promise
I
me
did.
you will
I'm
have
done.
60 seconds of silence for him to answer because I want
he
him to
did.
answer.
I asked the question. He answered it. It's over.
What's your answer, Si? How do we know that you are telling the truth versus Sir Isaac Newton? Scripture.
Oh, what
that
I
doesn't
would
make
say
sense.
is that question is answered through Scripture because Aaron admitted that Isaac Newton's revelation was extra-biblical, and I deny those type of revelations which contradict
Extra
Scripture.
biblical meaning direct from God Himself.
That's right, extra-biblical.
And you
That's correct.
argued.
Which-
See, this is the problem. Satan doesn't worship a God; he worships a book.
No, I
So
don't.
what if somebody was worshiping the same
Extra
book,
biblical,
but,
but
had something
direct
different?
from God.
Well, I deny that claim.
And you have to look up what he said specifically because he's finding it in
No, I don't.
Scripture. Yeah, because Newton,
Okay, Si,
Newton
thanks
argues
for
that
joining
God
us.
showed it
Read
in the
Hebrews
Scripture.
1. That type of revelation doesn't occur anymore. But the point is,
Then why do you claim it?
You don't have any way
I
to
don't
demonstrate
claim
your knowledge.
extra-biblical revelation. But what I'm saying is,
You
when
do
bring
claim,
up,
you do say that God has revealed it to you in such a way that you could know it for certain. It's exactly what Newton said.
Can I have 60 seconds to play the game?
But the
Yeah.
thing is, the
by
revelation
myself?
is in Scripture. His is extra-biblical. But the problem is, you bring up a contradiction. You cannot justify a problem with contradiction in your world.
Okay.
I'll stop it there. It is part of a much longer debate, so please do go and listen to the whole thing. Support the Dogma debate. If you enjoyed this, please thumbs up, favourite, subscribe, tell your friends. Thanks for watching.